Well, President Obama finds himself on the defensive at the G20 summit with members disparaging U.S. economic policies. They say weaken the dollar and stoke hot money flows. Joining us this morning with his thoughts on the G20 and also the current foreign exchange markets is FX Concepts Chairman, Founder, and CEO John Taylor. Taylor heads the world's largest hedge fund dedicated to currencies. John, great that you made it through the traffic. Okay, so we had a Bloomberg poll out that said 70% of our Bloomberg users, respondents, said that the U.S. is pursuing a weak dollar policy. Do you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Why?
Why?
It's not just, you're saying it's not just market forces, it's actual monetary policy.
No, it's important for the U.S. to try to straighten out its trade balance. And it's interesting, though, that a weak dollar might not even be enough to help it, because the U.S. has a positive trade balance with everybody in the world except China. And China is trade deficit with us, our trade deficit with them, I should say, is larger than our trade deficit in total.
Overall.
So it's China that's the problem.
And we had the president and Hu Jintao together in an 80-minute meeting that didn't make much headway at all. What does that tell you? It's going to be a long slog.
Absolutely. It's going to be very, very difficult. China is trying to be a good boy. The yuan has been stronger this week than it's been in any week for years. And just in time for the G20 so they can look good.
Right.
But it's not good enough.
Okay, so this weak dollar policy, though, you think is the right one for the U.S. to pursue?
Yes, it is. The only problem is it's the wrong one for Europe and other parts of the world.
But doesn't this then make the Federal Reserve look bad, irresponsible, and it makes the ECB look very responsible in this environment?
Yes. Well, when talking about the currencies, it does. The ECB is irresponsible in another way, but certainly in terms of managing the currencies and managing the results of currency strategies, the Fed looks like they're doing a terrible job.
Okay, and what I'm hearing from you, John, it sounds like, yes, we're in a currency war, but we're just in a currency war between the U.S. and China. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, but there are a lot of bystanders that are around getting wrapped up in it. Yes, exactly.
Okay, so then in the currency markets, what would you do right now?
Well, I'd sell the euro.
You'd sell the euro?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the reason for that really has nothing to do with the currency war. It has to do with things inside of Europe, which are looking very dicey at the moment.
Right. I know last time you were on, you were pretty pessimistic about what was going on in the euro region. But aren't they implementing what they need to do to keep the euro stable? Well,
they were for a while, but actually in about the last 2 weeks since the beginning of November, just as we were going into our QE, Europe began to fall apart. It's interesting. I don't think those two things had anything to do with each other, but they just so happened at the same time.
Is the euro going to slide faster than the dollar?
Yes.
Okay, it is.
Yeah, and so far it's gone from 142.80 or something in the beginning of November to 137 right now.
Okay, and where does that leave the Japanese and their yen?
Nowhere. They're sort of in a separate world all by themselves because they have so many problems and so much debt and the desire to have a weak yen. And in fact, the yen has been weak as well for the last 2 or 3 days.
Right. Okay, so then given all of that, John, then where are we then in trying to resolve this? It sounds like we're still far off then.
Yeah, I think we're a tremendous way apart. The Chinese really feel they can move for domestic reasons. The United States feels they have to move for domestic reasons. And those are how arguments start, when everybody's not thinking about the world, they're thinking about themselves.
And that's how protectionism starts then.
Exactly,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, John, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. That was FX Concepts Chairman and CEO John Taylor.